was. It looked like it was money. I don't know what it was. It was a flying saucer or what it was. It wasn't an airplane. It was not an airplane. It was down off below.
You're listening to Pursuit of the Paranormal podcast with your hosts, Ash Ellis and Greg Tomlinson.
Good afternoon, evening, Greg. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you doing, Ash? All okay?
Very well, very well. How's the recovery going?
Yeah, good. Crutches for a bit longer, but on the road to recovery, waiting for the next stop. So can't wait.
Nice one.
How's things with you? See, it feels like it's been ages since we spoke, and I mean, we've been doing loads of independent videos every day on social media, but we're not really been in conversation together. So it feels like it's been ages.
Yeah. We had a couple of cancelled interviews. I think that's probably been the reason why. But yeah, no, and it's been the last one for a little while, I guess.
Yes, yeah, because you're away. You're going away on holiday.
Yep, nice break. So yeah, we'll catch back up in a week or two.
Yeah, definitely. And we got some big interviews hopefully coming up. We've been contacted by a podcast in India to come on. They want us to go and talk on their podcast in India. And India's been one of our biggest supporting countries on the podcast. We launched the podcast in India on just like a network thing called Ghana a couple of years ago, and since then they've been significantly high listeners. So yeah, an untapped market, and they're very spiritual over there, and they want to talk to us about UFOs. So that'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this week's episode, doing a topic that we have covered a bit, but not for a while. I don't think. No. So it'd be good to sort of get back into this topic for a bit, which is going to be cryptids, big cats, stuff like that. And we're welcoming on this week to Harlem Karma. Thank you very much, Harlem, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to it for the past week now.
Nice one. Me too. So I guess for all our guests we have on, do you want to give us a bit of a origin? How did you first get kind of interested in the topic of cryptids or the wider paranormal topic?
Yeah. So I've been interested in the whole cryptid world now since I was born. You know, I grew up watching mainly American shows such as Monster Quest, Finding Bigfoot. That's what really got me into it, watching them after school and all that. And then I started reading books from a library about the Himalayan Yeti, Bigfoot over in America. And it kind of just spawned from there, you know, with having such a big interest. I decided to start the channel, and that ended up with me going to my local woods, just having a look around, to now spending weeks away in some of the most significant hotspots we have here in the UK, such as that of Bempton on the East Coast, Cannock Chase, Rendlesham, Loch Ness. And it's just been an absolute joyride since then.
Amazing, because you had your channel you got now is called Cryptids Britannia, and you did have I Talk Cryptids, which kind of disappeared off YouTube. What happened with that channel?
It was terminated by YouTube. So I had like 2.5K subs on there. So for it just like disappear overnight, it was kind of frustrating. But I'm starting fresh. I'm hoping I can build this channel up even more than I had done before. Now I've got a proper filming camera rather than just my phone. I'm hoping I can make more documentary-esque videos when I go out.
I watched your documentary about the Dogman on the Cryptids Britannia channel. You had loads of positive comments in the comments as well about the quality of the filming. And I must say, we speak to and have spoken to quite a few documentary makers over the years, and I like the style of your documentary. It's really good, well shot. All the colouring. Not that I know much about anything, but it's nice and it's a nice watch. Some documentaries you watch, they just look like they've been shot on someone's phone and it's just cobbled together for YouTube. But very well presented, and it was a good watch. It was a good watch. So I appreciate you taking the time, and the comments back that up as well. So everybody needs to go and at least watch it. And I think I was the 3,000th viewer of it. So just to let you know. But yeah, no, it was really cool to watch. So well done on that.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So I guess if we go back to kind of, like say, the interest in cryptids and stuff, how did that originally, what was it that kind of set it off? What, I guess, began that interest? Was it like a TV show or that started it?
Like I said, it was the biggest impact was Monster Quest, because like each episode is like a different cryptid, happening over in the US. But channel wise, in 2019, during the winter, I was with a group of friends. We went up to a local woods, which none of us had gone in before. It was a conifer plantation, which are always kind of creepy Blair Witch vibes. It's all dense. We went up there with the intention to build a bushcraft shelter, which never ended up getting built. Because when we got in there, about 5 minutes through walking into these woods, one of my friends pointed something out in the distance. None of us else knew what it was, so we looked over, and there was it sounds crazy every single time I've spoken about it to anyone, but I always go back to describing it as one of the raptors from the Jurassic Park movies, just a bit smaller, brownish kind of colour. We were scared. Shit, it was crazy. We didn't know what was happening. It paid no attention to us, surprisingly, and it kind of just ran off into the thicker part of the trees. But by then, we weren't keen to stay around, and we just ran back home. Yeah, I've been up to the woods quite a few times since then. Nothing's happened. I don't think anything will happen, as I think it's something more than just a blood and flesh creature. But that's what really kickstarted it, because I've had so many more experiences since then.
So whereabouts is where that first sighting was, and kind of the other experiences that you've had?
That experience was by the city of Lancaster, in the north of England.
Right.
Some of the other experiences I've had, a lot of them happen over on the east coast, around Bempton, Speeton, etc. I've felt the presence of we've caught on camera what I believe to be some type of demonic entity. Obviously, everything at the RAF base there, with all the satanic practices and stuff during the 70s and 80s, that all makes sense. Then that same week, on the way to Speeton one night, we witnessed again something crazy. What looked like a direwolf, which is a prehistoric creature, but it's essentially like a large canid animal. But the thing about it apparated out of nowhere. It came from this kind of mist in the middle of a road, and it went into the field beside us on our left, and it went how do you say it? It went past the bush to the point where you couldn't see it anymore, and the two other people in the car saw this big tail, at least like 5 foot off the ground. We swiveled around, we turned back, we got out of the car to have a look around this field. There's nothing but some deers in the distance, but the deers are way too small to be whatever this creature was, But it's not even like it's a livestock field here. There's no horses about. It's all crops. So you wouldn't expect to see any horse, cow, or whatever in this area. But it's definitely changed my opinion on stuff. And then last year, in January, which is relevant to the project I'm doing at the moment, I witnessed a melanistic leopard up here in the Lake District by a small quaint village, which ties to the documentary I'm currently making. Yeah.
Awesome. I was going to come on because I've seen you mentioning on social media about a big cat documentary coming up. So what's kind of your plans around that?
I started filming today, like the first of the thingy. I've been in touch with the Westmorland Gazette, which is one of the biggest news outlets we've got in Cumbria. Just so I can get a few articles out, etc., promoting it in my research. But where I saw what I think was the melanistic leopard, I have received several reports in the exact same location, I'd say 2 miles apart, of what also seems to be a melanocytic leopard, with some of these sightings dated back to as far as 2011. So clearly, whatever it is, the animal has no intention on leaving. So I think I've got a good shot of actually capturing it if I do it right. So, I plan on camping out every other week, just going out here, looking around these woods. Deers have been found ripped apart up here, legs on the paths of the woods. It's it's kind of scary almost when you go out looking for something that's very, very real. It's not Bigfoot or Dogman. It's something that biologically is proven. Maybe not here in the UK, but in other parts of the world. So what this animal is capable of. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it's all worth it at the end if I don't get torn apart while on one of these expeditions. But yeah.
So what's going through your mind when you're? So we've spoken to other people that have gone hunting cryptids. What is going through your mind when you're trying to track down this entity of whatever it is that, like you mentioned, could apparate out of nowhere? So you potentially don't even know it's there until it's too late. What is going through your mind at that point? And what do you do different to try and find these cryptids?
I think it depends, because sometimes I'm in a group, the Winter Hill investigation team. I'm often out with. I was with them where we went up to Bempton for a week, but a lot of the time I'm by myself. So it's depending on what I'm looking for. It's like a different state of mind, I suppose. Because some of these things are blood and flesh, like I was saying before with the big cats. Some I believe to be paranormal. You can't be afraid of whatever it is, because then it'll take advantage of it if it is something more demonic. I think you have to kind of just go out there with an open mind and be open to anything that could possibly happen.
Definitely, because you've been to a few places you mentioned, where Rendlesham, Cannock, Bempton, places that I've investigated myself for various things, and they are kind of incredible places to go. And a lot of work's been done up there. There's a lot of evidence, like Port St Clair and stuff up the northeast, and the Winter Hill team up in Lancashire. And especially Cannock Chase, me and Greg have been there a couple of times doing investigations. It's more paranormal, although some kind of, I guess, cryptid comes under that in terms of what we're looking for. Also, Delamere Forest have been as well. It's got quite a lot of stories going back thousands of years in some cases of creatures and stuff being seen up that way. I guess what's been your favourite place to go to out of the places that you've been?
It's always in the back of my mind. Cannock, since I first went there several years ago, not just my favourite hotspot, but probably one of my favourite places I've been to ever. Because we always go there during the summer, so it's always nice, sunny, and it's just like a wonderful location. I think there's something about the stories there that makes you want to keep going back. Obviously, you've got things such as the pig man around Castle Ring, the dog man around the German military cemetery, and the stories of the Woodworths, etc. It's just such a wonderful, mysterious location.
I mean, we had some. Boy, I'd probably say one of my favourite places. Like, say, me and Greg went there. I've been there a couple of times. It's just that feeling once you're there. There's a definite vibe to the place, both in the day and night time. I did the War Cemetery 2 o'clock in the morning on my own, a couple of hours, just seeing what's going on there, and it's just being there is just kind of that incredible place. We had some amazing results around Castle Ring, doing the Estes method, and they'll tell you, Greg, I got bit by a beetle in Cannock Chase. So I went there in the daytime once, we're driving back up from Birmingham up to Manchester where I live. I thought, Cannock, let's just stop for a couple of hours and have a bit of a picnic on the Cannock Chase. Set up a picnic table, picnic blanket, start having some sandwiches or whatever. Then my partner's like, "Do you have snakes in the UK?" I was like, "Yeah, there's snakes." Like, think I can hear a snake. So I was like Googling what type of snakes are in Canada and stuff. And then next minute, I could hear something. So I was looking like, is there a snake near us? All of a sudden, a massive pain just above, my lower back. The big pain. So I jumped up. I was like, what the hell's that? Big, massive black beetle was on the picnic blanket. And it like pincers. So like grabbed my back. It's not paranormal, but just I always think back to being bitten by a giant beetle in Canada Chase. But I guess you mentioned kind of, like you said, the wood owls and other creatures. I co-founded what was the British, the UK Bigfoot research team about 5 years ago. And one of the questions that we always get asked, and people obviously put a lot of derision towards it, is there's no way there's a Bigfoot in the UK. You kind of alluded to it that it's potentially not kind of blood and bones, flesh and blood. So what's your, I guess you've just asked that simple question, is there a Bigfoot in the UK in your opinion?
No. We just don't have enough room. When you look at some of these stories, they seem more paranormal. Even the stories in America where you've got a hunter in the woods, sees this creature, aims his rifle and shoots at it, does no harm to it whatsoever. And you've got stories here as well. But it's different wherever you are in the world, these ape-like creatures. Because what we have here, the woodworks, which dates back to the Middle Ages, and in some circumstances actually predates the American reports, it's almost a completely different animal. Over in America, yeah, sure, it's so vast and expansive that there's a chance that there is a blood and flesh creature there, but here, absolutely not. I mean, the reports we get here, they're more man-like, almost like a Neanderthal. They're a lot slimmer. Even in some of the older depictions, they're holding clubs like the Green Man, almost. Even going up to Scotland, like a Grey Man of Ben MacDoo, which seems almost like this paranormal Bigfoot-esque presence up on the mountain. It's very strange, the phenomenon.
No, definitely. Okay.
So you're saying about the fact that so there's not enough room for a Bigfoot type creature in the UK. So one of the reports that, very much like you said about this direwolf, that these things can sort of appear out of portals, and like you mentioned about these things that you're seeing, it just sounds crazy to talk about. Again, it's a crazy theory that these things can just appear out of portals, so they don't actually need to live here because they're not from here. Which, when I say that out loud, it sounds bananas. But looking at both of you straight faces brings me down to earth. I think I'm not entirely crazy. So what do you think? Because there's Bigfoot sightings around UFO hotspots, paranormal hotspots. Do you think that would be possible then for sort of a Bigfoot type creature in the UK, or are you just completely discounting that?
I used to be open to the idea that they could be underneath us in some of these disused mines, caves, caverns, etc. Now, not so much. I'm definitely open to being interdimensional, like you were saying with portals. I definitely think Cannock Chase is some kind of portal. It's got some kind of energy. Same with Bempton, because you get all this weird phenomena that differs from one another in the same huddled location. But I'm completely open to the whole portal scheme. I just don't think there's any possibility there's a blood and flesh creature here whatsoever. Being in the woods myself, going around. I'm an avid hiker, so I'm constantly up in the fells and the lakes, the Yorkshire Dales, etc. I just don't think there's enough land. There's just not much forest unless you go up to the Highlands. But again, there's just not much to support a population of man-ape-like creatures.
So Greg sort of mentioned the UFO kind of link. So when in the course of kind of our research, we found quite a few stories that kind of what appear to be describing Bigfoot-like creatures or big apes coming out of the sky. Where they reported, I think there's one from a Native American, so this is going back a few hundred years in America, and they described it as giant monkeys or giant apes. And a moon came down from the sky, and these giant apes came out of it. So you think of a giant moon coming down at the sky, could be their way of describing a saucer or some type of craft. Obviously, they've got no frame of reference. They've said it's like a moon that came down. Then the giant apes have got off that moon and ran into the forest. So it's kind of like, were they piloting? If this was a craft, was the Bigfoot-like creature piloting the craft, or do whatever the creatures are, if there are creatures, are they bringing them here and then maybe taking them back? Does that explain why they aren't found? Because they're going back up in a spacecraft. It's like Rex, it's a bit mad to kind of say those words out loud. But when there's that many reports, and very, very similar reports, going back literally hundreds and thousands of years potentially, like, we can't ignore it. It's mad.
I mean, I've heard people say that Bigfoot could be an alien, an ET. Maybe not Bigfoot, but I'd be open to the idea of there being a Bigfoot-like alien, covered in fur like Chewbacca from the Star Wars movies. But I wouldn't say that's the reason people are seeing Bigfoot. If it was a possibility, I'd say they're completely separate. It's just a coincidence that they look alike because they've both got a lot of hair. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I've never really looked into the UFO side of things really.
That's fair. Okay, so one thing you mentioned right at the start, that you'd been up to Loch Ness. What's your take on the Loch Ness monster? Because it's always in the press. It's always in the press.
Yeah.
But it's been debunked, for want of a better phrase, or somebody said they've captured the best piece of footage of Nessie. What's your take on a Loch Ness monster?
It's definitely not a plesiosaur, I can tell you that much.
Okay.
I think it's most likely some kind of possibly undiscovered large eel that's in the loch. Because obviously they've done DNA surveys and it's all come back eel. So I think it's more likely than not to be a large, unseen eel slithering around a loch, maybe even several of them. But I don't know. I mean, obviously we've got all the stories of Christopher Columbus with they're fighting off a Loch Ness monster, etc. But yeah, no, it's a weird one with so many people like so certain it is some kind of prehistoric plesiosaur dinosaur-esque thing, but I'm not sure. I mean, the whole loch itself is quite weird, the Aleister Crowley stuff as well. Just on the side of it, but yeah, I don't really have much more of an opinion on it.
Fair enough. I mean, it's the fact that it's sort of such a big vessel of water, and so many sightings. It just seems that if there was going to be something there, we would have found it by now. But I know it's so big, though. I don't know if it's possible to stay hidden. Ash, what do you think?
I mean, I've been a couple of times. Amazing place. And yeah, the sheer size of it takes 20, 30 minutes just to drive down like the length of it. It's that big. I think it's one of those stories that a lot of people hold in quite high regard. It's quite a romantic story. Say like Nessie, just even the name is like, obviously a lot of Scots are very proud of it. Obviously it's world famous. It's quite big in America. They always talk about Nessie, things like that. But again, there's been a lot of especially in recent years, quite scientific studies that haven't really come up with anything. And maybe we need to keep doing it that way, maybe going deeper or whatever, because obviously it is that deep. It holds. I think I read that it holds you could have put every single human in the planet in the loch. Like it would hold every single human, like 6 billion people actually fit in the loch. That's how big it is. Which is just, can't even really imagine every single person on it, all in that one place. So it is a big place, but it is beautiful as well. And there is up there as well a lot of, again, don't want to keep going to come back to UFOs and stuff, but one of them areas where there is a lot of reports up in Highlands around Inverness and that of UFOs, of cryptids, and going a bit further south. We filmed up in around Edinburgh in the summer, and again, there's quite a small area really in between Glasgow and Edinburgh, where there's all these UFO reports, cryptid type reports, big cats, strange figures, goblins, all sorts in these small areas. It could be these parts of Scotland are also these portal areas because it's because there's not many people living in these places, like Inverness or these villages near Edinburgh. It's only a population like in the thousands, but there's hundreds and hundreds of reports of strange phenomena happening. So you think that's like one in three people are reporting something. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. So it's just mad to think of what is causing all this stuff. It's amazing. I mean, like I say, amazing place, and definitely something going on in these places.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, Loch Ness, you were saying before, it's like massive. There's also apparently underwater caves under Loch Ness. So if something could possibly hide under them and avoid radar scanning or whatever. But again, I'm just not completely sure with the whole Nessie, Pleasy sort of thing, or Nessie in general, to be honest.
It's good for tourism. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
But it's got to follow the money sometimes. So I guess if we go back to kind of you a little bit, you're quite young. Obviously, the audience can't see you. You obviously don't say how old you are or anything, but you are younger than us, let's say.
Most people are younger than me, Ash.
Well,
I'm the oldest one of the three. Let's just say that.
Tell by the hair. So obviously, you've been doing quite a lot of stuff, quite prominent around kind of the UK kind of cryptid scene and stuff like that. How kind of reception been for you? Like, have you had any sort of roadblocks or people not been as kind of welcoming as people like Mick McClowan and people at Wit who I know quite well? Really nice people. Gone up to like Paul Sinclair, amazing people. Chris Turner, all amazing people. And we've had within the cryptid field, when we started the UK Bigfoot research team, we got quite a lot of hate from a certain community of people in the UK Bigfoot field. I won't name any names, but it got quite nasty at some points for no reason. I wonder whether you'd had anything. Obviously, you don't need to say anything you don't want to say, but you'd had any kind of experiences like that.
I have. I mean, most people have been really nice, like you were saying, with Chris Turner, Paul, Ben Walgate from 401 Files. They've all been absolutely amazing. Like you were saying, there was a particular community that revolves around the UK Bigfoot that wasn't so nice. Same kind of thing happened last year with another up and coming, some may even say young researcher who wasn't too good for me either. You're gonna get those kind of people of any community. So
the paranormal community is similar. I don't know if it's just the way people are across society as a whole. I mean, on the podcast here, we talk to all sorts of people, and there's people that we wouldn't touch based on them, but we generally have pretty good experience across the podcast itself. But I am aware that the paranormal community at times is toxic, so I can imagine it's a similar type of thing across other ones, especially like yourself, that you're doing well. You're bringing this young, fresh look to the field. So I can imagine that it can be quite threatening to people to see that come in, and people don't like people that are successful. It tends to bring out the dark side in some people. So I'm sorry that you've experienced that. You shouldn't have to experience stuff like that. Especially
Same to both of you as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. Especially if they start targeting family members, that's just bang out of order. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, definitely. Because if it ruffles feathers, it means you're doing something right. And if they're talking about you, it means you're doing something right as well. So,
yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think the whole thing is? So you talked about you've seen this direwolf type creature, this like velociraptor type creature. What do you think it all is? I know that's quite a broad, open question, but I don't know how to really define it any tighter than that. What do you think the hell is going on?
I wish I knew, honestly. I wish I could give you a definitive answer.
That's fair.
That would
That's
just,
fair.
Be correct. But no, I mean, it's all so bizarre. Dinosaurs, giant wolves, ghosts. It's all kind of, no one's going to believe you if you start talking about that to your random, family member or anything. I think it's a mixture of, paranormal stuff, blood and flesh stuff, and maybe extraterrestrial and interdimensional, though I'd group that with a paranormal subject. No, I wish I had the answer, but unfortunately, no.
That's fair. That's fair. But that's also a good thing because it just spurs you on to keep looking, I suppose. You mentioned like talking to family members about it. What does your family say when you go, I'm going out hunting these weird creatures that you may or may not believe in, but I've seen and they're out there and I'm going out there?
It's literally just like my dad's side of the family is completely open to it. They've experienced stuff, and my mum's side is not. So I could show my mum like the clearest photo of the big cat, and she wouldn't believe me. She'd think I photoshopped it or something. So I tend to just tell more to my dad's side, but yeah, my mum's still open to it, but it's just like the idea. I think is a bit out there.
It's quite a scary acceptance if you go and say, well, yeah, I believe it. It kind of opens this whole other world, which is not normal, as it were. Like you say, you can't necessarily open a conversation with somebody and go, oh, what do you think about velociraptors or velociraptor type creatures in the forests on the East Coast? And somebody will just look at you and go, what the fuck are you on about? It's just like, or you might be surprised and they go, I knew it. I've been seeing shit for years, or I've read about it, because where I work, people don't necessarily believe in it all.
Yeah.
But you can have a conversation with them there, and some people will go, oh, I watch Most Haunted, or I watch Monster Quest, or I watch Ghost Adventures, or whatever. So people are aware of this kind of stuff. So you'd probably be surprised that more people are open to it than not. And like Ash said, if 1 in 3 people in Scotland are reporting stuff, then that makes it even more crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you work? Are you at college? I mean no disrespect on that.
Yeah,
You're at college.
Yeah.
So what do your mates think about it? What do they say?
I don't know about it.
Oh wow.
I keep it secret. I'll say a little bit, but I won't go too out there. Like I won't just mention Bigfoot or anything. I'll say, oh yeah, I like to do hiking and make videos. But I won't go further than that because I don't want them to think I'm crazy with all this woo-woo talk and stuff. Yeah.
That's fair.
It's mad how, like, like Greg was saying, like it's hard to have these conversations. It is. I think I'm old enough now. I'm like, I stopped caring what other people thought. You kind of think, because I've always had this interest throughout my teens, and then real life took over. It's only in the past kind of 6-7 years I've got back into it as much as I have done in terms of investigating and the podcast and the UFO work I do. And it is surprising how people are open to it a lot more than you expect. Like my family, my parents are quite close-minded to it, and I had my own big cat sighting in Warrington a few years ago, and so I talked about it at the time. Mum and dad are like, yeah, whatever. This was like 3 o'clock in the morning, but then a couple of years later, when I kind of remembered that happened, I just put in the area, put big cat in Birchwood in Warrington where it happened. And there's all these newspaper reports from like the past 10 years. I was like, what? I was like, that's exactly where I saw it. And there's all these newspaper reports. It's like, it's not like people are seeing these things. It's crazy. When you actually look into it, people do see it. It's more widespread than people probably do realize. I think a lot of people have that where there are two people sat next to each other that probably don't want to tell the other person, but they do. But they both don't because the other person's going to think they're crazy. It's just kind of getting past that kind of block to actually just say the words. Like it's hopefully.
What was it you saw? Was it like a puma or a panther? What?
So it's probably more puma-like. So I used to work in the casino in Manchester. So driving home, it's Sunday night. So it was like, Sunday morning, like early hours of Sunday morning, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black. And it's just coming off the M62 into Warrington through Birchwood Way, I think it's called. And as I come up towards one of the roundabouts ahead, there's no street lights or anything. In the middle of the road was just a large, dog size, but it was a cat. It was the shape and walk of a cat, so more like a panther or puma, probably. Very large, like a large sized dog. And it just kind of sauntered across the road and into the woods at the side. So I pulled up further down thinking, what the hell? Like, what the hell have I just saw? And literally I texted my partner and just put time and date. So I knew I had the time and date when I saw it. Now I still parked up and I got a bit like heebie-jeebies. I was like, pitch black, no street lights, middle of the night, no one around. I'm sat in pitch darkness. So it's like, we get that kind of want to get out of there feeling. So just, seatbelt back on, got home, told my family about it the next day. I kind of just forgot about it until I think a couple of years later, like I said, I was talking to my brother's partner about it and I said, let me try to show you where it was. And it's just put in Big Cat Birchwood. And there's like 4 or 5 newspaper articles going back like 10, 15 years. I was like, and literally one of the streets where they gave was just off the bit of the road where I saw it, where this bit of woodland is. So it's like, that's exactly where I saw it. And it's mad that it's like, there must be something around there for so many different people to describe it. And large black cat all have the same description as well. So there must be something in Warrington as well.
I mean, I've heard of plenty of large feline-like creatures here around Warrington, Cheshire, or them areas. I mean, it's strange because the reports differ wherever you go in the UK. Here in Cumbria, I'd say about 90% of reports, if not 99, are of black melanistic leopards. You know, what you think of as a panther. But when you go down to the West Country, so Cornwall, Devon, and it's a mixture down there. You know, you get your puma, you get your panthers, obviously, you know, the Exmoor beast, the Dartmoor beast. And then in the south, so like London area down there, it seems to mostly just be pumas. So, does that have something to do with when they were released due to the Dangerous Wild Animals Act? You know, because obviously people can have different things. You've got all sorts of stories of pumas walking around Hyde Park and stuff. So, it's really strange how widespread it is.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned Rendlesham a bit earlier. It's one of the places. What was you looking for, I guess, in Rendlesham? Was there anything in particular you went down there for?
Literally just the UFO trail. I was really young when I went down there, so that's like the only thing I can remember. Unfortunately, I'd love to go back down there now, but I don't have a vehicle. Like the trains are so expensive, you know. And then you got to book like a Airbnb or something. Because we're lucky you've got so many locations up here. You know, like a Winter Hill and stuff, and even Cannock Chase. That's not too far. It's just down the Midlands, but Rendlesham. It's one of them places I just want to go back to, but I just can't. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait till I can get a vehicle or something, because no one's gonna drive it down there. No one won't do it. So
yeah, it's a trek. I think it took me. It was 7 hours going down. I think it took about 9 hours going back because of stoppages and stuff. It's like it's just literally it's such in the arse end of nowhere. It's like there's no main roads or anything. There's no phone signals. It's literally like backwater roads and stuff. But amazing place. I went a couple of years ago after wanting to go there. Like say the UFO history. Like since I've been a UFO investigator, it's like the story in the UK. Finally getting to go there, and then we had weird stuff happening down there.
You had a wild dog experience in sighting, didn't you?
A wild 2 hour story. But yeah, that's an amazing place. I want to go back to. That's about 3 years ago now. I need to get back to Windlesham. It's just getting the accommodation and the truck. I mean, obviously, I'll happily drive there. It's just the pain in the arse drive. It really is. Whereas up here, the north's quite populated. You do have them open areas quite a bit, basically going up towards Lancaster and Lake District. Like mountains and the forests and stuff, and towards the Midlands, Cannock, Delamere, North Wales. Quite a lot of stuff happens in North Wales. Then you got obviously North Yorkshire moors, then across to the east coast. So we are quite lucky with other places we've got on our doorstep. Really, like I went up to Scotland to film a documentary. There's so much on the doorstep. I was like, Scotland was a bit of a trek, so I'm gonna stick a bit more local. We do have it all on our doorstep, so we are lucky. That's why Greg's going to move up to the north to be in the middle of it all.
Yeah.
She's not here, so I can. Yeah, I will be heading up north this year, I'm sure. So, yeah, I'm from Oxfordshire, so.
Oh right, yeah, so quite a bit away.
Yeah, it's a couple of hour drive down from where I am right now. I'm up north at the moment, but yeah, it is. There is even like the paranormal stuff. There's a lot more up north for some reason. I don't know why that is, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to exploring all the north has to offer.
I kind of guess on the topic of, I guess let's talk wider paranormal. You mentioned sort of UFOs a little bit, but kind of if we go into sort of maybe ghosts, that sort of thing, is that something you have an interest in terms of that investigation or research?
Not really. I had a freak experience up in Loch Ness at the Aleister Crowley graveyard that he owned. I was 9 at the time, but my dad was into the whole occult stuff, so we went there at night. Like for some reason, it was like 10 o'clock, pitch black. We pulled up, we went in there, and there's this like stone hut almost, and I really want to go back here. But those stairs going down, there's pentagrams all alongside it. And my dad was going to go down there to have a look, but this shadow like started creaking up the stairs. It was like a Nosferatu, the old black and white one, where it's like crawling, like walking upstairs, very much like that. And as soon as he got out, a whole horde of flies like started to attack us and chase us all the way back to the car.
God.
And not like bottle flies, like massive ones. It was like, I can't remember too much of it, but it was like really freaky. Like it definitely left an impact on my interest in the whole supernatural world, I suppose.
That's creepy as hell. Especially being a kid as well, my God. That'd be scary.
I'm lucky I've experienced so much at my age. Like it's like I just can't talk about it all at once to anyone because they just won't believe me. It's like it's annoying but it's cool at the same time. It's like a curse.
Well, you're in a safe place now. You can talk to us. That's all good. So what's next for you? What are your plans? You mentioned that you started filming a documentary parts today. What's 2025 got for you?
2025 is going to be the year of the panther for me. I've started this documentary. I'm almost certain I know exactly where this creature is. Because if it's been here since 2011, possibly even longer, it's clearly got no intent in leaving. So it's all in kind of a smallish area that backs off into this big pine forest, Grisdale. But Yeah, no, I think as long as I keep on going out there every week, I'm bound to find proof. I mean, like I was saying before, I'm hopefully going to get an article out there on the Westminster Gazette and a few more after that. Today, when I was out filming, I put a few posters up essentially saying, if you've had a sighting, here's my email address, send it over, I'd be really interested. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a big one. I mean, I've investigated sheep killings before where they've been torn apart, like a livestock graveyard, really strange like happenings. But I think this year, fingers crossed, I'll get some footage of something. I'm planning to set out some trail cameras around this area and just try out different things, see what works.
Amazing. And like Greg said, the kind of the filming you've done, it is really good. Is that kind of self-taught? Is that something you've just done kind of yourself, or
self-taught? I mean, I'm not too happy with that video personally. I think there's a lot of like mistakes I've made, and there's these next few videos, because I'm going back out to the same location tomorrow, just so I can do some shorter videos in between the documentary on the big cats. Now I know what I'm doing, because I do photography at college, which isn't film, but it's like you learn some of the aspects of it. So yeah, these next few videos I'm hoping will be really good. Look high production, etc. But I guess I just gotta wait and see how it goes. I've been writing the scripts for it and stuff, but yeah.
Amazing. I mean, I'm editing our doc, and it's it's a learning curve for sure. It's hard work, but it's good. It's fun. It really is. You learn stuff all the time as you do it. But no, this has been great. So you want to tell everyone? I mean, it's YouTube is Cryptids Britannia. Any of socials and stuff where people can find you and follow your work?
Literally everything is Cryptids Britannia. So if you know how to spell it, search it up and you'll find me. Yeah, so that's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, even I think. I don't know. Yeah, just search up on anything and you should be able to find me.
Amazing. Well, good luck for the doc and for everything else in 2025. I'm sure we'll see a lot of you, but thanks so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Again, thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you. And yeah, looking forward to seeing the docs.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Pursuit of the Paranormal with Ash Ellis. Title music created by Steve Yarwood and Ambienfinity. If you like the show, please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, X, and Instagram. And if you really like the show, please rate and review the show wherever you are listening. It really does help. See you next time, and until then, stay weird.